Hello guys, and today I'm going to go ahead and talk about Walden, Civil Disobedience, week number 1. And this is day 2 of Braces, take 3. I hope you guys understand me. Walden chapter 1 to the end is basically about Walden's author, Henry David Thoreau, going ahead talking about his moving to the cabin life in the woods and why he's moved to the cabin life as well. He says that he lived there because he wanted to go away from society to try this new kind of way of life, to show people that the common way of life isn't the only way of life too. Just because it's common doesn't mean that it's the only way. He's determined to go ahead and show that there are other ways to go ahead and live life as well. Speaking of which, there are loads of things that we can go ahead and talk about Walden here too. The first chapter is actually the longest chapter in the book, and also could be its own book itself. It's called Economy. And there he goes ahead and talks a lot about his expenses and how he intends to live his life. Now, people back then worked 6 days a week. Nowadays, we work 5 days a week. And he wants to go ahead and work 1 day a week and rest for the 6 to show that he can still create a profit. He doesn't need much, he says, so he doesn't really need to work hard. He doesn't need all these things. When you need these things, you're going to need to work hard for it. But since you don't need most of these, you don't need to work hard to go ahead and get the things that you need. You need to work hard to actually get food. Lots of people don't work hard, but they still get their own shelter and the food too. And when people starve, it's because some sort of politician wants them to starve too. They could easily distribute it again, but some politician doesn't want to, so of course famine happens. At least that's how it happens nowadays too. War is almost obsolete. You are more likely to die, or more likely to commit suicide than actually go ahead and die in conflicts. And of course, so famine itself is getting obsolete as well too nowadays. Walden itself is a pretty great representation of that too. Chapters 1 to 8 basically talks about his expenses during the spring all the way to summer. Now the whole book is 2 years, but it's condensed into one calendar year. And chapters 1 to 8 is talking about the spring to summer and the transition from spring to summer. During spring, it's about about Henry David Thoreau going ahead and hastily building his cabin, so that when he finishes building the cabin for summer, he can go ahead and start planting bean crops as well too. So he has a little steady supply of food. He wants to read, but manual labor keeps getting in the way, so he thinks that he should have more time reading too. But what he doesn't realize is that farmers also want to read during their manual labor time as well. Nowadays we have podcasts, so we can just go ahead, put some AirPods inside our ears, and then listen to a podcast or something while we work. That's how I happen to do this work. Henry David Thoreau did all this, and then later, during his life in Walden, he went ahead and during the summer did a bunch of things too. He likes having visitors, and there are 3 visitors that are most notable here. It's like the woodchopper, the priest, and the philosopher. The woodchopper, the poet, and the philosopher, and he meets all those 3 at infrequent times as well too. By chapter 8, he's finished his cabin, and he's even showed proof of his expenses by showing that he can still make a profit even with one day of work for like a whole week. A cabin costs $28 to make, including the food and the oil. And that in his own week, he also kind of earned $36, so he has an $8 profit. Not much by today's standards, but I mean, for Thoreau, he's happy because he has $8 that he doesn't need to use, and he's probably happy with that as well too. What I can't believe is that he's actually thinking that a lot of people would benefit from this as well. Lots of people don't really like manual labor nowadays. Manual labor, the majority of people in the world aren't actually doing manual labor. At least the majority of the people in the world are actually going ahead and have access to broadband internet, and they can at least do something on there. They have more opportunities, and those opportunities, however, the more developed the country is, the more opportunities there are, and so it becomes hard to do things too. But that's Walden chapter 1 to 8. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you guys soon in the next one. And so until then, now peace. Bye bye. Note here. when you read Walden yourself, go ahead and look for allegories and start looking at them yourself. There are allegories and sources from Greek mythology all the way to some English classic literature. I'm pretty sure there are some allegories from somewhere in my back, but I can't find them yet. So see you guys soon. Bye. Da, 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 da.